Hi, I'm Jones, the vegan archaeologist, and welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, I am a professional archaeologist, but I'm also a vegan and I love to cook, and so I'm here sharing some of my recipes and some of my lifestyle working in archaeology. So if you're interested in any of those things and also some sustainable living tips, stick around. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and share it with your friends if they have any interest in cooking some vegan, yummy vegan food and maybe learning a little bit about archaeology. I actually work here in Colorado. I live in Colorado as well, and this summer I've been working on a project down in southwest Colorado, which is a really cool area. It's very close to Mesa Verde, which is a very popular tourist destination, and for good reason. I went on a small trip there with my family this summer, and I will be doing a video on that later, but today I am just sharing with you how I meal prep for a week of working in the field. As an archaeologist, doing excavation in particular is very, very hard work, and you burn a lot of calories and you get very hungry, but it is also very long hours. The project I'm working on right now is 8 days at a time, 10-hour days, working in the hot sun, and it is very hot, I tell you. So in addition to wanting to eat healthy and get enough protein and nutrients to keep me going through the day, it has to be pretty quick, because in the morning I'm busy getting ready for a long day, and we get started pretty early. We start at 7 a.m. and in the evening I'm exhausted and hot and just want to rest, and I don't want to have to spend a lot of time making meals for myself. So to make it simple, I do a lot of meal prep before I leave. And fortunately, while I'm there, I do have access to a really nice kitchen and of course grocery stores. So I do end up making more food during the week, but I like to kick off my week with some healthy food that I made at home that I don't have to think about, because those first couple of days in particular are pretty busy unpacking, and then I usually do my grocery shopping on the second day. So I don't have a lot of time to think about cooking. So I am going to show you some of the recipes or the things that I prepare before I go out to work in the field. And just so you understand, I do live in Colorado, but I live in Colorado Springs, and the area I'm working in is closer to Durango, and it's about a 6-hour drive. I usually leave on Monday. Today is Sunday, and then I camp somewhere on Monday night, and then I can get to work early in the morning on Tuesday. So a lot of the things I prepare have to be either able to stay in a cooler for a couple of days, or dry, something that I can add fresh fruit or whatever it is to when I get there. So I'm going to start off with some overnight oats, and I'm going to show you some hummus. It's a really delicious hummus recipe that I use in wraps and as hummus toast in the morning or as a dip. I love hummus, and this is a really great recipe made with white beans instead of the usual garbanzo beans. And some of these recipes are actually in a free ebook that I've put together. I will leave the link to the ebook in the description box below, and all you have to do is click to sign up and download your free copy of my 5 on-the-go-to recipes, which are 5 super easy and healthy recipes that are really quick to make, so that you can take them to work or to school or in the field or wherever it is that you're going. And there's a couple bonus recipes in there that are just kind of part of the main recipe. So please check that out. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description box below, and be sure to give this video a like and subscribe and hit that bell and all that business. Let's get started. So when I do overnight oats to take with me, I just prepare some packages that I can then put in a jar when I'm ready to, like the night before. I want to have it for breakfast. And so I take a mason jar with me, and I fill up these packs before I go. So I had a few left from last time. I don't usually eat overnight oats every single morning, but I like to have them at least half the time. So what I do is I always reuse Ziploc baggies. If you saw my video on tips for a more sustainable kitchen, which I will link the video in the description box below, you'll know that I wash all my bags. So these are all reused Ziplocs, and I use them over and over. I just wash them when I'm done, and I use them basically until they get a hole in them or something. So then what I do is I get my oats, and this isn't actually the brand of oats that are in here. Again, in that same video, I show how I shop in bulk. And so I take a bag like this with me to the store, whatever store I'm going to that has oats in bulk. And this one still has the label on it from when I bought it. And I fill this up and then again, wash and reuse that later. And I just keep an old oat container to put them in. And so these are just whole oats, and I'm going to start by putting 3/4 of a cup in each bag. Next, I put in some chia. Chia is great for energy and for protein, and a lot of people don't know this, but when you use chia raw, you need to grind it up first. That helps your body absorb all the nutrients. Otherwise, if you're eating it whole, it tends to just go straight through your digestive system and you don't get all the benefits from it. So I usually use like a kind of a small coffee grinder. I actually have an attachment for a small blender that I have that is probably for grinding spices, but I grind all kinds of things in it, including chia seed and flax seed, because it's the same deal with flax seed. You really should grind it first before you use it. So I put about a tablespoon of chia in each of my bags. I only have a teaspoon right here, so I'm going to use about 2 to 3 teaspoons in each bag. Okay, then I like my oatmeal to have a little bit of sweetness, but not too much. So I add some coconut sugar, and I usually put about a teaspoon of coconut sugar in there. And sometimes, to tell you the truth, when I actually eat the oatmeal in the morning, I will often add just a touch of maple syrup to it as well. It kind of depends on my sweet tooth that day. So I will taste it, and then if it needs a little extra sweetness, I'll put, probably a teaspoon of maple syrup in there as well. Then I put just a dash of salt. I find that it really helps the flavor. It's not going to make it really salty. I'm really just putting a little pinch in there, but it's enough to give it just a little boost to the flavor, because really, we all know oatmeal is a little bit bland, so I like to add a little bit of salt and then some spices. Okay, then I'm going to put in some cinnamon and some ginger. This is ginger that I bought in bulk, so I have it in my own little bottle. And in the recipe that I have in my ebook, I do put measurements, but really I usually just kind of throw some in there. I like a lot of cinnamon, so I really give it a good shake. And sometimes I'll even add more after it's been cooked in the morning. Now, overnight oats you can eat cold, but I don't like cold oatmeal, so I put it in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the strength of the microwave. and that heats it up pretty nice. And to tell you the truth, half the time I end up eating it in the car on the way to the site. I'm not the driver, I'm the passenger, so I can eat while we drive, and that's just kind of how I roll. So now I'm going to add the ginger, not quite as much as I put in with the cinnamon, but I do still like a good amount in there. It just really gives it a lot of flavor. And this is extra delicious if you put in some chopped up apple, and I usually add that the night before when I'm putting this in the jar. If not apple, then I use some other kind of fruit, typically raspberries or blueberries. But this is really, really good with apple because all the cinnamon and ginger, and it's just got those kind of like fall flavors that I really, really like. So that's it for the spices, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I'm going to add some dried cranberries. These are Trader Joe's brand, and I'm just gonna add, you know, about a tablespoon of berries in there. And that way, if I don't really have any fruit on hand that I want to add to it, I've got some fruit in there already. Okay, and that's it. These are ready to go. I'm just gonna seal them up. And like I said, when I'm ready to make it in the evening before the morning that I'm going to eat it, I will take one of these packages, put it in a small mason jar, and then I add milk up to almost the top of the jar. You know, I'll leave about an inch from the top of the jar. If I'm going to add some fresh fruit, I'll put that in there as well. Just give it a really good shake and then put it in the refrigerator. And then in the morning, I usually kind of stir it up again and then put it in the microwave, and I'll put it on a plate because sometimes if the microwave is really strong, it'll get really hot and bubble out and make a big mess. So you don't want to make a mess. So I put it on a plate, and of course without the lid because the lid's metal. You don't want to put metal in the science oven. And then it's all ready to go, and breakfast could not be easier, and it's super healthy and super yummy. So try it. So we snack a lot out in the field because it takes a lot of energy to do what we do for 10 hours a day. So I stock up on a lot of snacks before I go because I have a Costco membership, and we also have a Trader Joe's here in town, which they don't have in Durango. So I like to get the best deal that I can on most stuff. So I take a lot of snacks with me, and I just thought I'd show you what I got for this time. So I got these at Costco. Both these items are from Costco, and I have really been loving these Annie Chun's organic seaweed snacks. They are so freaking good and really light, pretty low in calories, really low in fat, so I can have a fat-free snack that'll help keep me going. And I think the seaweed is really good because we're sweating a lot, and it helps replace some of those minerals that I'm probably losing in my sweat. And these are really great because they're a high protein snack, really good, and they're also really good just like sprinkled on a salad or something. And some fresh peaches. I got some of these peaches from Trader Joe's last time before I left, and they were so good. I had one or two of them every day, and they were so juicy and so sweet, and so I had to get some more for this time. I also have some grapes and a watermelon that I'm taking, and I'll probably buy more fruit when I'm there. I just don't like to get too much stuff that needs to be refrigerated because, like I said, it has to be in a cooler for a couple of days. I also got some rice cakes. I really like this tamari with seaweed flavor. It's a lot less bland than, say, the original kind. And I put all kinds of things on these, like avocado or hummus, you know, sprinkle it with avocado and some hemp seed, or hummus and avocado and hemp seeds. It's tomato. Oh man, there's so many different things you can do with these, and they're a great low-calorie snack as well. And then I have a bunch of Lara bars. I got a big box of them at Costco, and these are great for protein. They're pretty filling, considering how small they are. They're tasty. They're made just with like dates and nuts and not much else, so they're really good for you. They have lots of potassium in them and some protein, and they're just a really great snack, especially in the afternoon is when I like to eat these. So those are some of the snacks, certainly not all of the snacks that I will be eating this week while I'm in the field. For this recipe, we're going to be using white beans. I used these Great Northern beans and some roasted garlic. If you haven't used roasted garlic before, it is so great and so easy to make. I have the full directions how to do it in my free ebook. The link is in the description box below. And you can see how easy those cloves push out, and I used 3 of those in this recipe. And then the juice from 2 lemons, which was about 4 tablespoons, and 3 tablespoons of sesame tahini. Then I added about a teaspoon of olive oil. You can skip this, or you can add a little more if you like. And then I used some of my homemade Greek seasoning. The recipe for this is also in my ebook, but basically it's got a ton of spices on it. You can see what some of them are here, and you can use just as many as you have if you don't have all of them, but it is a really great seasoning mix, and I highly recommend getting all those herbs together to make it. And then I added some ice water, which really helps the texture of the hummus to make it nice and creamy. Look at that. Oh, yum, that is so good. Next, I'm going to assemble the wraps, and I usually make 2 of these before I hit the road. Because I camp the night before, I can have one for dinner that night, and then I have another one all ready to go for lunch the next day. So I just spread some hummus on some nice big wraps and add some lettuce, onion, cucumber, tomato, whatever kind of veggies I have on hand. I happen to have some pickled cabbage here. That was from another recipe. It's not sauerkraut, it's just pickled cabbage, but it was really good. And then some Boca vegan chicken nuggets, which I really love in my wraps. And then just roll them up. And I put these in some containers with some nice crunchy vegetables. Usually that is snap peas or more cucumber. Sometimes I'll put pickles in a separate container, and some fresh fruit like these beautiful grapes, sometimes cherries, sometimes an orange, whatever I am in the mood for. On to the dinner part of my meal prep. This is my veggie chili that I have been making for years and years. Too many years. But it is a family favorite, and the recipe is not in my ebook, but it is on my blog, which is totally free. So check it out. That's a vegetarian chili. I am cooking this in an Instant Pot this time, which I highly recommend. I love my Instant Pot. I got one about a year ago, and I use it all the time. So if you're interested in buying one, I will leave a link to where you can get one in the description box below. But if you don't have one, just use a large pot. That's what I used for years, and it works just fine. So no worries there. Since I made such a large batch of this chili, we went ahead and had some for dinner that night. I served this up with some baked potatoes, but we also have it with rice sometimes. It's really good like that. Or sometimes I will make some garlic toast, and then you can dip it in the chili, and it's so good. This is such a delicious and hearty meal. And I love to put avocado on my chili. It has sort of a nice, cool, creamy texture in comparison with the chili, which does have a little kick to it. And so I just cut that up in the skin and scoop it out. And then, of course, I added nutritional yeast on top. Gives it a nice little nutty, cheesy flavor and some extra B vitamins. And there you go. A great hearty meal that's great for meal prep.